Right, perfect. Well, welcome everyone. I'm glad you are here. Very grateful that you've decided to spend your time here. You didn't have to spend any money to be here. And in return, you're going to be given a gift for that. But if you had to spend money to be here and you didn't like what you were going to receive, we would just happily give you your money back. But your time is non-refundable. And so I found it over the years to be far more valuable than money. And so I just want to express how grateful I am that you've decided to spend such value with us. And I am positive that you are going to get value in return with this evening's presenter. This gentleman for at least 30 years, if not more now, has been breaking records in the field of sales and marketing and network marketing. Now, he hasn't done this small by any measure. He has built organizations that have spanned across the globe in numbers of tens of thousands, many tens of thousands of people. So he is a very successful entrepreneur. He's a public speaker, a business coach, an adventurer, and a mind mentor. And probably most important to him, near and dear to his heart, he's a father of 8 rabbits, as he calls them. And his entire life has been living on purpose, for a purpose, with a determination to make a difference and leave a legacy for his children and for the world. And very admirably, he's building homes in Africa for people who are unable to do that for themselves, who live in quite derelict places, not through a charity, just straight from his back pocket and his heart directly to those people who need it most. And that's just one of the admirable qualities about this man. I'm very fortunate to have him as a mentor and consider him as a friend. And so without further ado, I'm going to hand over to tonight's special speaker. This is Mr. Malcolm Sword. Everyone give a Zoom round of applause to welcome him here. Thank you.
Thank you, Stevie. Thank you very much for the very kind introduction. And thank you very much for hosting us this evening. So I appreciate you being my wingman on nights like tonight. As I was saying before, I'm about to head off overseas, so you won't have to do this for another couple of months. But thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Welcome from, I guess, around Australia, and maybe even some folks that are from across the sea. So let me begin just for your own time clocks. I normally try and complete the presentation in about 40 minutes. So we hope to be done by about, say, quarter past the hour. So firstly, let me welcome you. If you're here for the first time, welcome to this incredible technology, incredible company, and incredible opportunity. Whenever there is a breakthrough, there is huge opportunity. And some people see it and some people maybe don't see it. And sometimes it's just really a timing issue. It was like that with me 5 years ago. I'd actually had a look at this technology for the first time in October 2014, but the timing wasn't quite right. The company then launched into the Australian market February 2016, and the timing was absolutely right for me. I was actually forced into the looking zone by circumstances. I won't go through that, but and ever since I began my journey with this company, the company's called ASEA. It's just been an incredible privilege to be associated with this great company and to see the benefit that this company and these products have for people, and also the financial opportunity that's created by the breakthrough. So thank you, Stevie. Let's turn the slide and we'll go on. So the company, as I just mentioned, is called ASEA. The technology, the product, if you like, that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening is called redox. REDOX stands for reductant and oxidants, redox signaling molecules. And I'd never heard of that. Maybe you haven't either. 6 years ago, I'd never heard of it. It was, if you go back in history, in 1998, the discovery was made of just how significant these redox signaling molecules that we have in our body was made. They're Italian named scientists, but they're actually from the United States. Won a double Nobel Prize for understanding the breakthrough, the significance of understanding what these redox signaling molecules do in the human body. And from that point, the race was on to try and replicate these very highly bioactive redox molecules outside of the human body. Deemed impossible. Many scientists told our founder, Vertus Norton, you'll never do it. It's impossible. And this company has done it. Heavily protected. If you're here because you're looking at the opportunity, one of the keys is that we own this space. There is nobody else operating in this space. You cannot buy redox anywhere else other than from this company. Heavily protected. There's one plant in the world, operates in the United States. I'll cover that through the course of the presentation. But it is being held as the greatest health and science breakthrough of our time. The atomic medical physicist, Dr. Gary Samuelson, I'll introduce you to him on one of the slides a little bit later on, said in an interview last week, he said, we actually believe this may be the most significant health breakthrough of all time. Nonetheless, it's a very significant breakthrough, and you and I have the opportunity to be able to participate in this. Normally, this, of course, would be the domain of the pharmaceutical companies, but I might explain why that came about in a little while. Thanks, Stevie. So the way that we take this product to market, these products to market, is on a word of mouth basis, and there's reasons for that. This is a privately held company. And the best way to deliver a new technology like this, it was felt by the owners, was to deliver it word of mouth. The product needs explanation. Most people haven't heard of it. And remember, this company was not a multi-billion-dollar company. Sometimes people have said, well, why didn't they pump billions of dollars into advertising? It's not a pharmaceutical company. The product itself is not a pharmaceutical. It has no toxicity. It has no toxins. It's not a drug. One of the questions I'm often asked is, has it got FDA approval? And the answer is, well, no, it doesn't need FDA approval because it is not a drug. Thank goodness it's not a drug. The plant is FDA approval. The technology doesn't need FDA approval. So it is body native. We have these molecules in our body, and this company's been able to replicate that. Why we ingest them, I'll explain in a little while. But it enables you and I to generate an income. And it says here a serious income. When I began 5 years ago, serious income for me then was just a few $1,000s a month. My circumstances have changed. Many of you will have heard the statement or the saying, I went from being a rooster to feather duster. And so at the time that I started with ASEA, I'd lost everything. And so for me, the ability to generate just a few $1,000s a month was very significant. And of course, that was 5 years ago. It's progressed substantially since then. But so serious income for some people can mean $2,000 a month. And welcome. If you're here because that's what you'd like to accomplish, we can show you and help you to do that. If you're here because you want to generate an income of $200,000 or $300,000 a month, you're welcome to do that. The difference between one and the other is the person that wants $200,000 or $300,000 will put more effort in than the person that wants $2,000. There is no salary cap here on income. Thank you, Stevie. So here's a snapshot of the company's headquarters. ASEA is the name of the company, as I mentioned. It's a global leader. Not only is it the global leader in redox signaling-based health and anti-aging technologies, this is the only company on the planet that produces these bioactive redox signaling molecules. Very heavily patented. The patents roll forward 20 years, and we have no competitors. We have one plant. There's 5 people on the planet that know how to produce these redox signaling molecules. These are the corporate headquarters. These offices were completed about 18 months ago. The other thing that's significant for you to know is that the company's debt-free. Company carries no long-term debt and is incredibly well run, as you will learn from the man who founded the company, a gentleman by the name of Vertus Norton. Thanks, Stevie. Here we go. So this is the gentleman on the left. Interesting story, interesting man, one of the most significant human beings that I've met in my life. And Vertus's background, he started really with nothing. I think in his younger years, he started working in a store. I don't think it was Walmart, but it was something like Walmart. And then he worked his way through the corporate world in the United States to become one of the who's who of corporate leaders in the United States, and ended his career working for Kraft Foods, $38 billion company, B with a billion. And he was the senior strategist for Kraft Foods. A very clever man, very clever strategist, very clever businessman, and an incredible human being as well. If you go and watch a video in YouTube called The Genesis of ASEA, Genesis is Genesis, the Genesis of ASEA, you'll see a little bit about the heart of the man, who he is. and why he turned down the pharmaceutical company when they made a massive offer to acquire this technology and take it off his hands. There's reasons why he didn't sell, and he kind of will explain that through that little video. Runs for about 13 minutes. He's now retired. Vertus is in his 80s today. And so he's kind of stepped down from the company, and the company is now run by his son, Tyler. There's an old saying, isn't the fruit never falls far from the tree? And Tyler is the mold of his father. He's an incredibly clever man, very successful businessman in his own right prior to joining with ASEA. So we are run by a company of men who have great integrity, great morality, and great strategists in business as well, as we take this company and this technology to the world. Thanks, Stevie. So many years of research went into these products. So there's a story behind that, which in part will be described on the Genesis. But the discovery was made in 1998 by the scientists of redox. Then the race was on. There was a small biotech company in Utah that made the running on these molecules, on developing the redox molecules. They could make them, but they couldn't stabilize. They couldn't hold them. And so they would only remain bioactive for 2 or 3 minutes. If they weren't ingested, they would denature. So it served no commercial value. And it was around that time that they were running out of money and invited Vertus to sit on their board. Ultimately, he acquired the technology. But there was many, many years. So that was 1998. This company, ASEA, that owns this technology, owns the redox, the patent on the redox signaling molecules, came to market in America in 2010. And as I mentioned earlier on, we launched here in Australia in February 2016, almost 5 years ago. So the company's had significant growth year on year. We're on the J curve now, and 2018, company grew over 50%. 2019, we grew over 50%. 2020, we grew. We didn't grow at 50%, slightly less than that, but we still grew at a time when the global pandemic was affecting lots of businesses around the world adversely. We still continue to grow. We forecast that we will reach $1 billion within the next 5 to 7 years. And there's reasons that I'll explain why we believe that is going to happen. So we're perfectly positioned ahead of the growth that will come in the next 3 years in these very large markets. So these products, the markets that these products work into is into health, wellness, and anti-aging industries, and they're $1 trillion globally of business. And we position ourselves into those markets, again, as a unique technology, unique product range. Thanks, Stevie. Little snapshot of the management. I've been in business a long time. I've been in business since I came here in 1980 to Queensland and started my business career there. And I've never met and been a part of a group of people like these people. They are high on integrity and morality. They put ethos and ethics above money and income, care about people, and care about this company. This is a legacy company. You're seeing a company that is still in the early stages of being a legacy company. For many of us listening, and for many of us on the call and people involved in the business, our reason for being with this company is to create a legacy income. One of the key drivers for me was to create a legacy income for my children and my grandchildren. And I've been blessed through this company to be able to set that up in the last 5 years. But nonetheless, a great group of people. I hope you get to meet some of these people in the coming years. And then we have a medical advisory board. I also know most of these people on the board, incredible human beings. And they come from a background of different medical modalities. Some of them are chiropractors. Dr. Maureen Hayes is a general practitioner. Dr. David Silverman, pediatric surgeon. So they come from many different health modalities that are affiliated with this company. Many of them now are actually full-time developing the ASEA, their ASEA organizations around the world. Thanks, Stevie. So this is some of just a snapshot of the countries that we're in. In total now, we operate in 34 countries. And so if you're looking at this from the business perspective, there's over 200 countries on the planet. And so we're still very early days. And even in the countries that we're involved in, we're still very young to market. We're still very new. If you go into most of the markets that we're in, walk down the main street of the city and ask 100 people, have you ever heard of redox signaling molecules? Still, most people have not heard of this technology. Now, we are getting it out there. More and more people are aware of the redox signaling molecules. But the dark areas are where we operate, where we're open. If you could look into Asia, we're open in Taiwan, we're open in Hong Kong, the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. The big markets, as you can see, the biggest markets in the world are not open for us yet. They will roll out in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years as we move this technology into the markets. One of the questions sometimes people ask me is, why don't they just continue to roll into markets anyway? And the answer is, we don't have anybody snapping at our heels. We don't need to be the fastest company in the world to take this to market. We don't have anybody that competes with us. We have the market. We are the only company in the world that produces these redox molecules. What ASEA does when they move to market, when they move into a market, they set up the market, they get it operating properly, they get the offices, and they get the structure complete before they look at then moving into another market. So everything they do, you can imagine, from Vertis Norton down, who's a senior strategist, clever man. He does things very methodically. Thanks, Stevie. So here you see a bit of the snapshot of the growth. And look, it's taken a little while. This is a brand new technology, and we are new to market. And many of you will have heard of antioxidants. And in fact, most people in the world now have heard of antioxidants, but most people aren't aware that antioxidants came to the market and became significant in the 1920s. I first heard of the significance of antioxidants about the mid-80s. It was like 60 years after the discovery was made of how significant they are. So in terms of this technology, we are doing a lot better. We're growing a lot faster. Notwithstanding, we still have to educate the population about what redox signaling molecules do, how it works. And one of the things we need is we're looking for more and more leaders, more visionaries, more entrepreneurs to help us to take this technology around the world. But you can see from this, those of you who study business, we're now well on the J curve and growing very, very well. Thanks, Stevie. So here, as I was sharing with you before, we're involved in 3 of the world's biggest industries. We're in the health and wellness, beauty and anti-aging, and the athletic performance. Let me just draw your attention to the beauty and anti-aging part of this technology. We in Australia, we operate as part of the region known as Australasia. And Asia, in my opinion, will be the largest market for these products in the world. And when I'm asked, when people say, why do I say that? There's 3 reasons. Number one, because it's the largest population base in the world. Over 50% of the world's population are in the Asian region. Number 2, the Asian population are fanatical about anti-aging. They're fanatical about looking younger and prepared to spend a lot of money on looking younger. These products have no toxicity. They have no toxins at all. And so the Asian population, it's the fastest growing part of the business in the world right now, is in a number of these Asian countries. And the third reason is they work very hard. The Asians are well connected and they work very diligently, especially with a business like this. It's free enterprise business, no ceiling on their income. And so this region of Asia will be the biggest in the world. We're also involved in the health and wellness, athletic performance. Again, we have some of the most unique and the only redox molecules in the world. Thanks, Stevie. These are products that do things that no other products can do, because they're the only products in the world with redox molecules. Just let me share with you that you saw 2 products. We have 3 products that contain redox signaling molecules. The signature product is a liquid. That's a signature product. About 70% of the world's turnover is in the supplement, the liquid. Then we also have a topical gel. You might have noticed a tube there. We have a topical gel. So the redox molecules in the liquid work from the inside out, and then the gel, the Renew 28 gel, and there is also a serum, work from the outside in. The difference between the Renew 28, which you can see on the right-hand side of the picture here, and the little needle nose, which is a serum. The serum is the most concentrated redox product currently on the planet, and the Renew 28 is 3 to 4 times more concentrated than the supplement. So they say a picture paints 1,000 words. What is so great about this is you can visibly see the difference, the before and after. Let me just draw your attention to the lady on the left-hand side. Her name is Rydun Bone. She's a naturopath from Norway. A friend of hers, I'm going back 7 or 8 years, sent her a tube of the Renew 28 and said, look, I'd like you to test this. We're looking at coming in and moving into the opening into the Norwegian market. And she said, look, make sure you take a photo before you start using the Renew 28. Rydun did do that, and maybe she'd forgotten. But 3 weeks later, she called a friend in America and said, look, I don't really think this is doing very much for me. And her friend in America said, did you take a photo before you started? And Rydun said, yes, I did. I said, okay, well, let's have a look at that. And let's have a look at your photo now. So the photo at the top left and the one at the bottom left is at 3 weeks apart. And I was actually with Rydun in late 2019 in Hawaii, and she's now many years older. That's probably a photo that's taken maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And her neck is even better now. She's continued obviously to use the product. She's a veteran of naturopathy. She's been a naturopath for close to 50 years now. But you can see visibly the before and after photos using these are photos of the Renew 28. Again, no toxicity. Can't be allergic to it. Can't overdose on it. Can't hurt you. Thanks, Stevie. So again, this is the signature product. This is the liquid. And when the company launched in 2010, this was the only product they had. When they came to market, when ASEA came to market back in 2010, this is how they launched. They only had this product.
Just bear with us, folks. I think we just have Mal frozen for a second. We'll be back any moment. Just one moment. Can I just get in the chat box? Everyone can see and hear me fine. Can I just get some people give me a shout out in the chat box if you can hear and see me fine? Okay. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Thanks, Billy. G'day, Billy. Okay. We'll just see if we can get Mal back. It looks like he's dropped off the presentation altogether, actually. So if we don't get him back in 1 minute, I'm just going to try and carry on with the presentation. Okay, just 1 sec. Sorry about the technical hitch, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just see if he's popped in the... All right, I will keep an eye out for Mel. Hopefully we get him back, but otherwise I'm going to carry on as quickly as I can. Oh, here we go. 1 sec, folks. Sorry about the technical hitch, folks. So that was Mal. He's just trying his best to get back on. So I'm going to jump in on my phone as well to try and keep an eye on Mal. And if he comes back on, we'll bring him on. But otherwise, let's carry on, shall we? Sorry about the technical hitch. All right. So as Mal was saying, this is the main product. This is the redox signaling technology, and it contains active redox signaling molecules. So it's a cell signaling supplement. These are the cellular messages that affect your genetic expression in a positive way, helping to protect, rejuvenate, and keep cells functioning at optimal levels. And that's very important because that's all we're made up of, cells. So we really need those working and functioning at optimal levels. That's how our bodies work and function at optimal levels. So ASEA redox users, oh, here we go. Mel's back on. Let me just bring him in. So sorry, folks, but we should have Mel back in just. So you there, Mel?
Back again. Maybe I'll just stay off camera.
Yes, do that. All right. Well, great to have you back.
Apologies, everyone. I'm not quite sure what happened. Obviously, I got some internet problems, but anyway, so I'll just stay off camera and we'll just continue. Thanks for taking over, Stevie. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Are you there?
We've got you, mate. Reins are yours. Loud and clear.
All right. If you can just click over to the next slide, please. Terrific. Okay, so here we go. Here's a snapshot of a number of the Olympians that are sponsored athletes by ASEA, and you know, one of the key things, of course, is that you can't be drug tested for redox signaling molecules because it's not a drug. So many of these athletes will use the redox signaling molecules to enhance their performance, but completely free of any drugs. One of the links, or if you go into Google, you can look up a gentleman called James Lawrence. He's known as the Iron Cowboy. And James Lawrence is an American. He did Ironman events back in 2015. And in fact, he did 50 Ironman events in 50 days in 50 different states in the United States. And one of the products, not the only one certainly, but one of the products that he used was the redox molecules, and drank 3 bottles a day in order to be able to recover and back up to use so you could do another marathon every single day. So lots of different testimonials from athletes. I think there's a link I'll share with you in a minute that'll help you if you want to go and have a look at some of these athletes specifically. Again, the supplement on the left-hand side, and then the Renew 28. So what are these redox molecules, or RSMs, vital to life and health? They're naturally produced inside every cell. So this company, we operate in a completely new area of wellness. So there's products obviously that are made synthetically, chemically based, made by the pharmaceutical companies. Then there are products that are naturally based, made in nature, goji juice, orange juice. We operate in this new realm of wellness technology, in as much as these products are native. They're native to the human body. So the redox molecules that you and I have in our body, ASEA has been able to replicate. So redox molecules are redox molecules. And so this is a totally new area of wellness. So they're produced inside every cell in our bodies, detect cell damage so they can be repaired or replaced, and increases the cell's production of glutathione, which is the body's most powerful antioxidant that protects against cell damage and oxidative stress. Just as an aside here, the atomic medical physicist, and I'll share a photo of him in a minute. If you are here for the first time, please ask the person that invited you to come onto this webinar this evening to share with you a link of an interview with Dr. Gary Samuelson last week with a young lady called Danielle Matthews. It's very, very good. Danielle was asking him about how they stabilize the molecules and what the potential of this for humanity. It's a very good interview. Runs for about 30, 40 minutes. So ask the person that invited you to come here this evening if they can send you that link. It's well worth the time to watch it. Also, these redox molecules, fundamental for the immune system, protecting against harmful bacteria, viruses, and infection. Let me just read that again. Fundamental for the immune system and protecting against harmful bacteria, viruses, and infection. Thanks, Stevie. Another question I'm asked is, well, Mel, if I already have these redox signaling molecules in my body, why then do I need to supplement? Why would I take more of them if I've already got them in my body? And that's a fair question. And the answer is that as we age, we reduce the production of these redox molecules. We maximize the production of these RSMs in our body at puberty. And then every year we drop about 1%. So every decade past puberty, we're dropping production by about 10% per decade. So at my age, I would naturally be producing somewhere around 20% of what I was producing when I was at puberty. But now we can top up. That's the benefit of what we have here and the technology we have here. We can now pop up. We can now top up as if we're teenagers again. Thanks, Stevie. So many peer-reviewed articles. The study of these redox molecules is, in fact, the fastest growing area of medical research in the world today. And over 32,000 peer-reviewed articles and over 1,500, I think it's actually more than that now, books that have been published on redox signaling molecules. Some of them are readable and some of them are very, very complex on science. That one on the right-hand side, Redox Life, I was given that many years ago, and it's just impossible to read. It's like just impossible. It's way over my pay grade, but some of them are very readable and understandable. Thanks, Stevie. So here we go. So for decades, scientists try to produce these redox molecules outside the body because of their vital importance, so their significant importance for health and vitality. When Virtus Norton actually acquired the technology, and he started phoning some of the scientists, some of the top scientists in the country, and at UCLA and Harvard and Stanford, and every single one of them said to Virtus, you're wasting your time. And many of them knew Virtus. They knew of his career, his background, that knew that he was a significant man, a significant businessman. And every one of them said, Virtus, you will never stabilize. It's impossible because they're highly fleeting. In layman's terms, it would be like me saying to you, go and grab an empty jar, take the lid off the empty jar because I've got two flints here and I'm going to strike these flints together to drop the sparks into the jar. Then I'll put the lid on because tomorrow I need to light a fire somewhere. And people would say, well, that's impossible. And this is exactly what Virtus was told. They said, you'll never, ever stabilize these redox signaling molecules. And it took a gentleman by the name of Dr. Gary Samuelson, the atomic medical physicist, who was actually living only a few doors down from Virtus, to actually stabilize them. And then after 2 decades and millions of dollars of research, I think it was somewhere around $17, $20 million of research, ASEA scientists managed to produce these molecules and stabilize them in perfect balance, exactly as found in healthy cells. Thanks, Stevie. So the process is heavily protected, heavily patented, the production process, and therefore the only company in the world with products that contain these vital molecules. So this is the plant in Pleasant Grove, Utah, and this plant has the capacity to produce $1 billion worth of volume, and they already own the block of land right next door. So the company is set to scale. They've been ready to scale. Virtus Norton, as I mentioned before, was used to running billion-dollar companies, and so this ASEA will be a household name, and that redox molecules will be a household name, and we will scale it into the way past $1 billion. Again, you're seeing a snapshot there of the 3 products that contain redox molecules, the liquid, the supplement on the left, and then the Renew 28, and then the serum on the right-hand side. One of the things that happens when I have shared this technology with people over the years, one of the things people do, and I understand why, they go to Google, and Google, let me just share with you, Google is a search engine. It's not a research engine. If you want to do your own independent research, you're much better off going to either Google Scholar or go to PubMed. That's PUB, stands for Public Med, MED stands for medicine, pubmed.gov, which is a publicmedicine.gov. It's a US-based site. And in there, you can do your own research on redox molecules and diabetes, redox molecules and heart disease. And there's three common sense answers as to why, when some people say this is just salt and water, or expensive salt water, why it's not that way. It starts its life as pristine salt and pristine water, exactly as it does in the human body, and then it goes through this 3-day process of stripping down all the atoms and reworking it to produce these bioactive redox signaling molecules after 3 days. And there's three ways you can test that it's not salt water. Number one is that if you put salt water in your right eye, go and get some salt water and put it in your eye and tell me how that feels. And you know how it feels. It's going to be raw and red and your eye will be weeping. And then put redox molecules in your other eye. Many of us put redox molecules. I've been putting redox molecules in my eyes for years. So one will be red and raw, and they can tell that's a salt water, and then the eye with the redox molecules will be soothed. Interestingly enough, my dear old auntie, who's 89, just as an aside, has been taking these redox molecules now for, well, almost 5 years. And she's 89, she'll be 90 this year. And 3 or 4 months ago, she was at her optometrist. And the optometrist said, look, we've got to change your prescription. We've got to reduce your prescription. Your eyesight's actually improved. And that's pretty rare for somebody who's 89 years of age. Again, the result is from these redox signaling molecules. And the second response when somebody says, oh, it's expensive salt water, is that, look, imagine that Virtus Nord, he's a very clever man, but I don't think it's likely that he would, go to the Pacific Ocean, grab a couple of buckets of salt water and then go to the patent's office and say, look, would you mind giving me 49 patents on this stuff, please? It kind of defies common sense. But the third one, and probably the most compelling answer, is that this company, BioAgilytix, is an independent laboratory. And BioAgilytix operates with 20 of the top 25 pharmaceutical companies. And every fourth batch that ASEA produces, they test. Every fourth, you can see the vats there. Every fourth one that ASEA produces, they test and certify that it is full of bioactive redox signaling molecules. They would dare not do that if it was just salt water. They would lose their business overnight. So those are the three common sense reasons why you know that this is bioactive redox signaling molecules. Thanks, Stevie. So here's a gentleman I've mentioned a few times. And when I first went to look at this technology back in October 2014, I actually sat next to this gentleman. I didn't know who he was. Incredible human being. And as I mentioned before, if you can get a hold of the interview that he did last week with Danielle, it's very, very good. He talks a lot about the science, about how they were able to stabilize these redox signaling molecules, and how he sees the potential of this in helping the world, and the true breakthrough that is redox signaling molecules. Thanks, Stevie. And this is a book that he's written, and it is actually readable. This is and so if you just click onto the next part of the slide. So one of those statements that he makes is the redox signaling process is remarkable because it is the process that allows us to regenerate tissue and maintain our normal function and capacities. The technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen. Big statement. I want to remind you, that's not Mal Sword making that statement. That's Dr. Gary Samuelson. When we sat in the boardroom that first time, Danny Doyle and I sat in the boardroom that first time, and Dr. Gary Samuelson made a statement. He said, we believe this is the most significant health breakthrough since penicillin. And look, when I first heard that, I thought that's a very big statement, and I didn't say anything. There was 45 people in the boardroom. I didn't say anything, but I kind of thought that sounds like BS to me. And then the cogs of my brain kind of kicked over a couple of notches, and I thought, well, hang on, this man is an atomic medical physicist, Mal. Do you think that maybe he knows something that you don't? And so as I entertained that thought, I thought, well, what if what he just said is true? What if this is the most significant health breakthrough since penicillin? And in the 5 years that I've been associated with this company and watched what this technology, what this has done in people's lives, I absolutely believe it is certainly one of the most significant health breakthroughs that we have seen, certainly in my lifetime. Incredible breakthrough, and of course, incredible opportunity. Thanks, Stevie. This gentleman is Dr. Moran. I always get it confused. He's either a veterinarian from America or is a chiropractor. And his name is Dr. Moran. And so what he did, you can clearly see what he did. He decided to use the Renew 28 Sometimes people say, I want to see if it works. Well, it's difficult to see that on the inside sometimes, but you can see it visibly on the outside. So oftentimes this is a good way if you want to say, well, I want to see if this actually does help. So this is what he did. He used the Renew 28, the right-hand side of his face, left-hand side to our screen for 1 month. And he didn't use it on the left-hand side of his face. And you can see for yourself the difference. And also look at the glasses. It looks like the left-hand side of his face has dropped. Looks like almost like he's got Bell's palsy. Well, his wife after a month said, "You look ridiculous. Either stop using it or use it on all of your face," which he now does. So he doesn't look like this anymore. Thank you, Stevie. Again, with wrinkles, renew twice a day for 3 days, once a day for 3 days. The results that people see, this is the experience that we've now had in the 10 years that the company has been operating now. About 5% of people that will use these products will see a result in a few days. I've watched people have a result in a few hours, but they're in the minority. So only about 5%. About 30% will see a result in 30 days, 60% will see a result in 60 days, and 90% will see a result in 90 days. Sometimes when people start using the supplement especially, one of the things that I do, because people want to see a result quickly, we tend to be an instant society. Everybody wants everything as quickly as they possibly can. And so one of the things that I do with people is to ask them in the first month to double dose. Instead of taking 60 ml in the morning and 60 ml at night, double it. Now, the doctors in America, if people say that to them, they say, well, keep doubling the dose until you feel it. You will feel it. The redox molecules cannot not work in the human body. They have to, because they're native to the human body. You have to respond. When you respond will depend on how much. So if you're somebody who says, I'm really well, I've got nothing wrong with me that you know of, then if you start, whatever you start, just every day, just double it until maybe day 3 or day 4, it'll hit you. You'll get better sleep, better moods, you'll get better, more energy. You will feel it sometimes in a short period of time. But most people, 30% will respond in 30 days, generally, 60% in 60 days, and 90% in 90 days. Sometimes it takes people a little bit longer. My dear old auntie, as I mentioned before, she's 90. When I started her back in 2016 using these products, it was 4.5 months before she had a major shift in her health. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but generally people will see a result in 90 days. Thank you, Stevie. Again, visible changes you can see. I won't mention the condition, but you can kind of tell what this young man was dealing with. Thanks, Stevie. The next slide is the condition that when I originally went to see this. This is in part an autoimmune problem. I've struggled with this for many, many years. And this is why I went to look at this. I and Danny went, when we went to look at this company and the redox molecules back in 2014. It wasn't for business reasons. The products were not available in this country at that time. It was that started in 2016. But this was the reason that I went, and Danny went for separate health reasons. He was seriously, seriously ill. Thank you, Stevie. Again, this is just some blemishes, but just one of the things people look at is the blemishes left and right. But just have a look underneath the little red square to her neck. Look at the lines on the neck on the left-hand side of the picture and the right. So obviously, what's happening is the elasticity has been increased, and it's helped deal with some of those other little wrinkles on her neck. Thank you, Stevie. So here's some independent clinical studies. On the left-hand side, these studies were conducted by an American company called Stevens and Associates. This was conducted on the Renew 28 over a 4-week study. The most significant improvement there, obviously, is the 50% improvement in blood flow. But each of those markers are very significant on the Renew 28, and that's over a 4-week period. On the right-hand side is the tests that were conducted by a German company called Dermatest. And Dermatest has given this is on the Renew Advanced, the serum, which is currently the most concentrated redox product in the world. And they conducted an 8-week study on people using the serum. And these are the results on the markers: 100% improvement in fine lines, 95% improvement in skin smoothness, 85% on improvement in radiance, and 92% in photo aging. I mean, you don't really get much better than that. And so most of the respondents, people that were on the trials, 90% of people said they would like to use these, use the product. So we have a very high acceptance on these products, especially because people can see the visible evidence relatively quickly when they start using these products. Again, no toxicity. That's the big plus. We don't have any toxins in these products. Thanks, Stevie. So from the inside out, which of course is a supplement, then comes from the outside in, which is the Renew 28. So you can kind of draw your own conclusions that when you see what happens on the outside, it's difficult to kind of, go inside and have a look. But these are some of the things people, as I mentioned before, report: less fatigue, better sleep, improved health, improved mood, and less discomfort. Thank you, Stevie. So athletes, improves for athletic performance. We believe that one day, 5 years down the track, 7 years down the track, if you're a professional athlete, you'll actually be at a disadvantage over the athletes that are taking these redox signaling molecules. Helps with endurance, helps with strength, helps with recovery, and of course, mental stamina as well. Thank you, Stevie. But all of us are athletes, all of us kind of busy, but there's one of the links I wanted to share with you, athletes.aseaglobal.com. And you can see a myriad of different athletes, from Bria Larson, who was a gold medalist Olympic swimmer, to cyclists, Eddie Hall, power lifter, English power lifter. Thank you, Stevie. So this is an article that came out of a Huffington Post back in around June 2016. Pay attention. Some of these will shape our lives in coming years. Talking about the changes in direction and wellness technologies, organic electronics, nutrigenomics, synthetic biology, and number 4, these redox signaling molecules. Redox signaling molecules have been around for eons, but it isn't until recently that we've learned about their central importance in our health on a cellular level. New technology, ASEA, redox molecules, is emerging that inserts healthy redox signaling molecules into our bodies, helping to repair and replenish our aging cells. Since we are made up entirely of cells, every organ in the body can potentially benefit from this new technology. Again, without competitor. We don't have anybody else that's producing these redox signaling molecules. Thanks, Stevie. Okay, let's go into the little bit about the business plan and generating income, serious income, if you will. Again, the business is a smorgasbord, really, in terms of what you want from it. There's a very good link that often I'll send people to by a friend of mine in America called Dr. David Silverman. And if you go to YouTube, you can look up 6 Reasons in 6 Minutes by Dr. David Silverman. He talks about the various reasons that people come to the business. Sometimes people come for their health or the health of a loved one. And then when they see the changes and the benefits, then they start sharing this. And then some people come for a little bit of income, and then some people come for an exit strategy, as I did. When I began 5 years ago, I had a desire to significantly change my world, change my financial future, and create a legacy income. Thanks, Stevie. So you make referrals. This is how we do it. And look, one of the things we don't do is we don't just open somebody's account and say good luck. We work very much as a team. We work together. We work to help people to get started. We show you how to get started. So when I start a new associate that wants to build a business, I work very closely with them, especially in the first few months. So we'll coach you on how to do that. We'll teach you how to get started. We'll teach you what to say, how to connect with people, how to build a business like this. And then you refer people, and then they refer people, and they refer people. And that's how a business, it's a word of mouth business. And that's how a business like this works. And if you build it properly, it creates the residual income. Now, please don't misunderstand this. You don't create residual income in a business like this in 2 weeks. To get to residual income, it's going to take somewhere between, let me give you a range, somewhere between 18 months and 5 years. Now, I have people that I know in the business with ASEA that have done it very much faster than that, and some might take a little bit longer, but that's a good guide to get into to building a business that is residual, creating a residual flow of money for you. Thanks, Stevie. So you'll also be paid from the refer the contacts. Again, it's word of mouth. In my own situation, I started my organization here 5 years ago in Australia. My business now operates in every country that is open and a number of countries that are not open. So we can still move product into countries that are not yet open. And I started my business from Brisbane. So it goes from person to person to person, and then just spreads all over the world. Now, that didn't happen in 2 weeks. That happened progressively over a period of 12 to 18 months. So this is what we actually do. And people ask me, what do I do? This is what I do. I create distribution channels for this biotech company, for a biotech company around the world. And people often ask, well, how do you create income with a business like this? We get paid on volume. So if I build a group of 10 people, I'm not going to generate a huge income. But if you and I generate a business, an organization of 1,000 people or 2,000 people or 10,000 people or 200,000 people, we are rewarded on income. Now, there is a structure, but it's simple. It's a simple structure. It's a very simple compensation plan. But ultimately, we're rewarded on volume. So the people that build the largest organizations, that have the greatest volume of products moving through those organizations, create the largest incomes. And the incomes can be massive, absolutely massive. So this is how it works as you introduce it to other people and spreads, and then you'll see in a second that you'll have organizations in each continent around the world. So in the Americas, you'll have organizations growing the European market, into the Asian, European, all over the world. Again, I want to emphasize this sector that we're in my opinion, will be the largest, simply because of the population and the fact that the Asian population generally love the anti-aging qualities of these products. Thanks, Stevie. So what you do is completely up to you. Simple to open your account. This is not a capital-based business. You can open your account here for $60 and get started. So we're not after your money. It's not a capital program here. It's an effort. It's an enterprise-based business rather than a capital-based business. I mean, that was incredibly good news for me 5 years ago. I didn't have any capital left. I lost everything. So for me, coming to a business like this was such a huge opportunity for me, when I could rely on my own work ethic, if you like, because I didn't have any money. So I started the same place. There's also different packages. I won't go through those this evening. The person that invited you can go through those, and they range in price from $300, something like that, to up to about $3,000. Thanks, Stevie. Lots of different ways of earning income, a very generous compensation plan, 50% of all the turnover returned to associates globally. The income is paid weekly. Once you get to some of the executive ranks, there is also a monthly bonus, but every single week we are paid. It's very exciting. It's actually the first time in my life, in my business career, that I've been involved with a business that actually pays on a weekly basis. So it's very exciting. Thanks, Stevie. So the business is simple, something anyone can do and something anyone can learn to do, and it works. The business is really about people. We are a people business, and we have lots of coaching, lots of training, quick start training. We've got basic training, leadership training, corporate events. We run regular trainings here on every Monday. We'll have one of the leaders do some training, coaching. We have a lot of mentoring and webinars to help people to build a business like this. So again, you're not on your own. You don't build this. You don't build this alone. We build this very much as a team, very much about a team effort as you grow your organizations. So as you move up the mountain, you can see the various incomes. Let me just speak to some of these levels. If you look from where you start, all of us start at the associate. And it's a good analogy. We climb up the mountain here to director to 300, director 700. Let me just start at the income of the bronze executive. A good bronze executive in Australia will earn somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 per month. And that's with the executive momentum pool. So one of the questions I asked is, how long will that take me to get there? So let me try to give you some guidelines of what it might take you to get to that position. So if you're putting in somewhere, let's say between 8 and 12 hours per week, it's a part-time busy. You start part-time with a business like this. The idea is to become full-time as soon as you can, so you can continue to build your organizations around the world. And to get to that, if you put that amount of time in, somewhere between 2 months and 5 months to get to that level. I've had people in my organization that have done that in 2 or 3 weeks, and I've had people that have taken a lot longer. So it's an individual, everybody's a little bit different. There's no two people that are the same. It really depends on your input. It depends on how diligent you are and how consistent you are. Let's just move on up to the diamond level. You can see that another 1, 2, 3, 4 levels up. In Australia, you would expect to be earning at the diamond level somewhere between $18,000 to $20,000 per month. Now, across the globe, the average ASEA diamond has taken 18 months to do that. But I've had people in my own organization that have done that in 4 months. And I've had people that have taken a lot longer than that. But the average to get to the diamond level in this company around the world, from ASEA's statistics, is 18 months. And that's actually what it took me. It was 18 months from the time that I started to the time that I got to the diamond level. Thank you, Stevie. And then the incomes keep going from there up to the presidential triple diamond. When you open your account, you get the virtual office. It's very easy to navigate. This is really gives you all the details, all the information of your business. It tells you, I go to my back office and I can see where all the different countries where people are enrolling from, whether it's France, whether it's England or United States, whether it's from Colombia, all the different countries that are open, and I get to see a snapshot of the vital signs of my organization. Every single day, I'm in my back office, a number of times every single day watching it. But so this is when you take a position, when you take on open your account, all of this is included. Thanks, Stevie. So ASEA will become one of the biggest companies within the health, wellness, and anti-aging industries of all time. I absolutely believe this. We are a protected space. We don't have anybody competing with us in this space. And increasingly, people are starting to become aware of just how significant this breakthrough is. And so I have no doubt that this is going to happen, that this company will be a multi-billion-dollar company. Thank you, Stevie. Time for action. Okay, so we're looking for people to identify people who want to make some changes right now. And you can become a business builder. You can some people just choose to use the product. That's fine. Wherever you start from, that's your business. And sometimes people, they want to just start using the product and gradually they morph into a business builders. Some people are just ready to go straight away. That's terrific as well. Let's just go on to the next slide, Stevie, please. So this is a good snapshot. When you build a business like this, when you're dealing with people, sometimes it can be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. You can have high highs, low lows. You can speak to somebody who gets very excited, speak to somebody else, then not excited. You can speak to somebody that decides to take a position and they don't do. It's just dealing with people. It's learning to even it out. The best way to build a business like this, I've found in the many years that I've been in the industry, is just to build it emotionally neutral. I treat it as a business, understanding that I'm looking for people that are ready to go now. My own role, what I do is I look for key people, I look for leaders, I look for visionary, I look for the entrepreneurs, and I look for the multipliers. Now, if I know somebody's got a serious health challenge, of course, I'll have that conversation. But most of the time, I'm talking to people about generating additional income, whether that's a little bit of additional income or whether it's a legacy, big long-term legacy income. Have those conversations with people, but just build it emotionally neutral. Not everybody's going to build this with you right now. Sometimes people will incubate for a while. And when we go to the market, you have 3 types of people: the red apples, green apples, and rotten apples. Doesn't mean to say they're rotten people. The red apples, I can sit down and share this with people and they just get it straight away. They just see it, they get the technology, they understand the breakthrough, and they're yes, they say, terrific, let's get going, let's get started, let's move. I want to move quickly with this. They want to get to the money quickly, and they're the ones that we look for. The green apples are people that need some more information. It's fine. We can answer your question, get information to you, to help you to either move on, or maybe you just want to, in that category, green apple might just use the product and say, I want a product experience. And then the rotten apples, it's just not for them. It's not, the timing's not right. That's fine. No problems at all. So when you go to market, just click on the next slide, Stevie. This is what happens when you go to the market. You're going to get all of the above. You'll get red apples, you'll get green apples, and rotten apples. Still today, this happens to me. Sometimes people think when you build a very large business and you're experienced, everybody must, become involved and build. And that's not the way it is. I still do the same thing. But I'm kind of immune to it. I'm just going through the numbers, looking for my key leaders, looking for the people that want to go, and I work to help those people that want to establish, a significant cash flow. Thanks, Stevie. So it's a very simple system. Red apples will attract red apples. That's what happens. Leaders find leaders. Monkeys in nature, monkeys should produce a monkey. A lion should produce a lion. A rabbit will produce a rabbit. Leaders tend to find leaders. That's the way of nature. We attract who we are. Good people attract good people. That's kind of how things are. So if you want to, attract good people, become good people, and be strong and have belief in yourself, have belief in this opportunity, and you'll attract other good leaders. Thanks, Stevie. So ultimately, this is how your organization will look. And look, this takes a process. I know everybody wants to have an organization like this by the end of February, but there's a process to this. Like building anything of substance, like building a skyscraper. The most important part of a skyscraper is the foundation. And there's a principle of building a business like this. There's a principle of building the foundation. And, there's a lot of information. There's some great webinars that a number of the leaders have done about, how do I build a foundation? What does that look like? What do the numbers look like? If I want to become one of those diamond, associates, how many people would I need to introduce? All of that information is available to you. Step by step, we can show you exactly what to do, because hundreds and hundreds of other people have already done that. So you won't be the first, you certainly won't be the last. And the best way to walk across a minefield is in somebody else's footprints. So if you just follow somebody else's footprints to success, that's the best way to succeed. If you wander off and try and do your own thing, we can't guarantee that. But the same as you wander off in a minefield, you might get blown up. So, follow the success footprints that have been laid out before you. Thank you, Stevie. So this is, the global convention. It's been changed now for obvious reasons. So the reset of our annual, which we normally have an annual global conference, I can tell you is in 2022 now, April of 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada. So at the current time, that's where we'll be going for an annual conference. But what now? Call the person who invited you, join us in the business. For me personally, this has been the most exciting, the most rewarding opportunity I've ever seen. I am 66 years of age now. I will never see another ASEA. I will never see anything like this in my lifetime. I'm super excited when I share this with people. The people that are looking, the people like me that might come to this and need some change in your life financially, like I did a few years ago. So welcome and enjoy the journey and join the team. It's an incredible support. We have an incredible support network. It's an incredibly giving team. I'm not sure if that's the last slide. Stevie, is that the last slide, or maybe there's one more? Oh, thank you. So thank you very much. My apologies again for the breakdown on my internet. I've been having problems with it all day, so I apologize for that. But look, thank you very much. Thank you, Stevie, very much for filling in. Thank you very much again for hosting, and really appreciate your time, Steve. I really appreciate you taking over and looking after me again and being my wingman again. So thank you very much, and thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure to share with you. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Swordmaster. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, and I get something out of it every single time, and I know everyone here does too. So thanks for sticking around, folks. As Mal said, get back with the person that invited you here. Let them know what stood out to you the most. If you have any questions, just ask them. There's plenty of information for them to share with you, plenty of university studies to prove that it's the real deal. But most importantly, there's tens of thousands of real people's really not just life enhancing and life changing, but life giving back redox results for you to see that ASEA truly is the real deal. So thank you very much for joining us again. And Mr. Swordmaster, thank you ever so much for imparting your wisdom on us again. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, Stevie. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, and good night, and see you soon. Thank you.